Back to the daily grind, and shout out to the full-time patrons. Make sure to hit subscribe if you're new and hit thumbs up if you're not a baby back bagel biting bitch boy, cause you know what time it is. It's full time.
MMA.
UFC 225 in Chicago, Robert Whittaker versus Yoel Romero 2 was the most stacked UFC pay-per-view of the year to that date. Now, we've had UFC 226 since then. That's the only one you could really argue because that was also a nice card. But before that, in 2018, UFC 225 was for sure the most stacked card of the year. You had two title fights. You had Robert Whittaker versus Romero 2, Covington versus Dos Anjos. And on top of that being a title fight, you had the Brazilian Dos Anjos trying to get his get back on Colby Covington, who's probably the most hated guy in the UFC right now. And with all of the antics that Colby Covington brings, the trash talk, talking about Brazil, I mean, just everything he does to make people hate him, whether he's spoiling Star Wars, he's just trying to get hella people to hate him because it makes people watch him. And so doing all that, you would expect Colby Covington's pay-per-view numbers to reflect that. Or else it's like he's doing all of this for nothing. He's making the whole world hate him for what? Why do we hate you if we're not paying to see your pay-per-views? But now, to be fair to Colby Covington, I do think Colby Covington is actually a lot bigger draw than some of the other welterweights because of his antics. And the first numbers that we saw from UFC 225, the pay-per-view numbers were abysmal. But that actually was just a rumor. Turns out we got another report like a week or so later, like actually there might be a whole extra 100,000 pay-per-views we didn't account for. The first number was about 150,000, and then a more reputable number came out that it was actually closer to 250,000, and after that number we haven't really heard much since then. But either way, 250,000 pay-per-views isn't a complete dud, but for two title fights, and then on top of that, CM Punk was on the card. I mean, it was a really stacked card. You had Holly Holm on the card versus Megan Anderson. I mean, you even had Alistair Overeem and Curtis Blades all the way down on the prelims. The card was so good. I mean, shit, going to the Fight Pass prelims, you had fights like Pettis versus Benavidez in the flyweight division. You had some great WMMA fights on the card. Dude, this card was so stacked, bro. So even 250,000 is not a lot in that sense because of, if you're a hardcore fan, this card was insane. Now, this is where the fucking whole business aspect comes in. The casual fan. It looks like the casual fan wasn't tuning in as much to UFC 225. And if they were, maybe they were just all streaming it, you know? There's some people that feel like people might have been boycotting CM Punk because CM Punk was on the pay-per-view. And they're like, well, so we already seen CM Punk fight. Why are we watching him? We know he can't fight. Is it just for CM Punk's redemption? I mean, he's fighting at his hometown, but if you're someone that's buying the pay-per-view, you might feel like this is a little bit of a circus because CM Punk's on the pay-per-view over Alistair Overeem. That was something that got brought up. And so maybe people boycotted it for that. On top of that, I mean, you know, there's a lot of reasons we could try and speculate as to why this card didn't do as good as it should have. But I really think the gist of it probably is, for one, people weren't as interested in CM Punk's return. But also, Colby Covington, just because he's talking all that trash, it doesn't mean he's going to be the biggest worldwide star overnight. Some of this trash talk has to sit in. Do the people of Brazil know who Colby Covington is? For sure. They want him to fucking die. Do the people of America know who Colby Covington is? A lot of people do, especially the MMA fans. But the casual fans, a lot of their first time hearing Colby Covington was probably after he beat Rafael Dos Anjos. A lot of people, the casual fans, they didn't know about Colby Covington and his trash talk coming into this fight because before this, he just fought Damian Maia in Brazil. It wasn't on a pay-per-view. The casual fans probably weren't watching that fight night card. So yeah, they don't know who Colby is yet, but now they do. Now that he's the interim champion and they've seen him beat former champion Rafael Dos Anjos, I'll tell you this is my prediction. Colby Covington didn't sell a lot of pay-per-views at UFC 225, but I don't think that's going to be the case forever. I actually think Colby Covington's next fight is going to get bigger if he can continue to win, and that's going to be hard because he's got to fight Tyron Woodley. But at the same time, I do feel like Colby Covington's pay-per-view numbers will rise, and it's because he, like I said, he just got on the pay-per-view, just won the title. Before Conor McGregor, honestly, was about to fight Aldo, everyone in the world didn't know Conor McGregor. The casual fan didn't really pick up on Conor McGregor until he was about to fight for the title. And then once he actually beat Aldo, that's when people started paying attention and it got crazy. But Colby Covington, he's not supposed to be doing Conor McGregor numbers yet. He just got his hands on the interim belt. And so with that being said, he's still going to continue to talk shit and get headlines for it. When John Jones says something, you're probably going to see a Colby Covington response, even if it's not about a fight. whenever, you know what I'm saying? Whenever anything popular happens in the sport, you're probably going to get a reaction from Colby Covington that might piss you off, and if it doesn't piss you off, it'll piss somebody off. And with that being said, Colby's going to continue to get the headlines, and that's the name of the game. It's not even about just talking trash, dog. You can talk trash on Twitter, but if the websites don't pick it up, or if nobody sees it, then you're not making headlines. Not as many people are going to see it, and not as many people are going to tune in. So you have to be at a big enough point for people to care about what you're saying, and Colby's just getting there. Now that he's the interim champion, and now that he's going to be fighting for the belt, you have to listen to him. Before, you could kind of say, "I'll forget that guy. He's not nobody. He's not going to be a champion. He's not that good." You could just discredit Colby Covington. He's just talking trash, trying to be Conor McGregor. But now that you're seeing the skills, now that he beat Rafael dos Anjos in an interim title fight, and he's going to be fighting Tyron Woodley, you can't ignore him. Now when he's talking, and on top of that, he's already got the fight building with Tyron Woodley, bro. I mean, you can feel how you want leading up to this point about Colby Covington's gimmick, if you want to call it that. I'm not even sure, though, because Colby almost feels like a natural as far as being an asshole. But this beef between Colby Covington and Tyron Woodley, I'm a fucking mark, dog. I'm falling for it. I don't know what Colby Covington has scripted for Tyron or what, but I feel like Tyron Woodley honestly does not like Colby Covington and wants to fuck Colby Covington up. Now, does he actually want to catch a body in the octagon? I don't believe that. He might be hyping it up a little, but I do believe these motherfuckers want to fight each other. They are former teammates in that sense. Sort of still teammates for American Top Team, but they don't train in the same gym. But at the same time, they're both under American Top Team. And one of these guys, I believe Tyron Woodley, has suggested, how about the fucking loser leave American Top Team? I think that would be a great idea and even add more to the fight. But on top of that, bro, I don't think we've seen anything yet as far as race baiting is concerned from Colby Covington. I mean, whenever you call the Brazilians filthy animals, it's not being over the top racist, because you're not saying like all brown-skinned people are filthy animals. You're more leaving it at one country, and it's really open to interpretation. You're still fucked up for saying all of these people, you know, painting them all under the same brush, but it's not necessarily racist, but it's almost race baiting. You know, it's kind of funny. People say Tyron Woodley's a race baiter. I would argue Colby Covington is, because he's making everybody feel like he's racist, and he's not racist. You're bringing all these fucking race emotions into it when you say Brazilians are dumps and you're calling Kamaru Usman boy. I think Colby Covington is race baiting. People say Tyron Woodley's point is race baiting when he's just trying to say, hey, I feel like I'm not getting this opportunity because I'm black, or whatever reason he's saying, because I'm not white. I don't even think it's because he's black, but that's how Tyron Woodley feels. That's not race baiting to me. That's just him saying how he feels from his personal experiences. Now, Colby Covington, when you're calling Kamaru Usman boy and son, and, you know, talking about Tyron Woodley or John Jones baby mamas or Brazilians or filthy animals, that almost feels like you're race baiting to me, because you're kind of playing off of stereotypes. And so with that being said, it is what it is, man. But as far as the UFC 225 low pay-per-view numbers are concerned, Colby Covington had something to say about it, because people are like, ha ha, Colby, you talk all that trash and you still don't sell no pay-per-views, ha ha ha. Well, Colby Covington has a reason for that. He says it was a lowball estimate, talking about that $150,000. He said it looked like fake news to me. I mean, at first they said $150,000, then they said $250, and we haven't even heard what it's been since $250. He went on to say, did any other card this year even do 250,000 pay-per-views? Look at Daniel Cormier, greatest fighter of all time. He just fought Stipe. I don't know. Who knows if they even got to 250,000. So, I mean, 250,000 is pretty good compared to what's been offered in the UFC. He's got a great point. Like I said, 225 was the most stacked card of the year. I would not be surprised if 220, 221, 223, 224, if all of those pay-per-views, aside from 223, that's the one that sticks out. But a lot of the pay-per-views were not as stacked as this card. And even UFC 223, it was stacked. But if you're someone that pays attention to the sport and you're looking at the card from top to bottom, I was actually interested in more fights at UFC 225. Now, that's just a hardcore fan's perspective. I mean, at UFC 225, you had three fights on the Fight Pass prelims, 3 fights on the main card that were must-see, and then the whole pay-per-view, aside from maybe CM Punk, because he let me down. But either way, UFC 225 was stacked all the way through and through. Now, the difference with UFC 223, even though it wasn't as stacked in my mind, There was that whole Conor McGregor shit going on. The Barclays attack, that embedded got 6 million views. Highest views in an embedded count ever. You know, I've never seen an embedded get like 6 million fucking views until Conor McGregor's throwing a dolly through a bus. And with that being said, there's probably a lot more people that had their ears perked up to say like, oh shit, what's going on in the UFC? And so if they didn't have anything better to do, they might have bought the fight, you know what I'm saying, that weekend. So they might have sold a lot of pay-per-views because of that big drama show. But other than that, man, if you're just talking about selling pay-per-views off of the card, 225 is the most stacked of the year. So Colby Covington has a good point. They might have sold the most this year. And we'll see what happened at 223 and 226. But $250,000, man, it's not trash. I mean, if you think about years past, it's definitely trash, man. John Jones in DC sold like 800,000. Conor McGregor sold over 1 million multiple times. Rousey was selling 1 million. I mean, now it's like if you don't have a Ronda Rousey, John Jones, Conor McGregor, we're having a hard time cracking 300,000. That kind of shows you how star-driven the sport is in a way. Because the casual fan don't give a fuck if you don't have a huge star. Us hardcore fans, it's not enough. And maybe the hardcore fans, there was a chunk of us boycotting the pay-per-view for CM Punk. So there's a lot of factors that play into this. But either way, Colby Covington's he's not taking no L as far as the pay-per-view numbers are concerned. Because as I said, it's not like the whole pay-per-view was on his back. He wasn't the main event. There was CM Punk on the card. And he was just now fighting for his first interim title. So it's not like Colby's supposed to come in here and sell 1 million pay-per-views yet. But I'll tell you this, if Colby Covington can beat Tyron Woodley, and that's not too far-fetched. I mean, Tyron Woodley right now is the best welterweight on the planet, but Colby Covington's not a great matchup for him, that's for sure. He's different than a lot of the other guys Tyron Woodley has fought in his last few fights. Wonderboy, Karate Guy, he had to fight him twice, completely different style than Colby Covington. Damian Maia, takedown defense, not even close to, or his takedowns aren't the same as Colby Covington's at all. His jiu-jitsu might be a little better, but the pressure he's bringing is not the same. Colby Covington's a guy that's going to be able to test Tyron Woodley's cardio, test his wrestling, and probably put the same pressure on him, similar to a Rory McDonald who was able to beat Tyron Woodley. And Colby Covington's a better wrestler than Rory McDonald, if that played a part into how Rory beat him, if that's how you feel like he beat him. Even if he's just applying the pressure and wearing Tyron Woodley out, Colby has the potential to do that. And if he's talking shit this whole way, talking about Tyron Woodley's mixtape, calling him boy, whatever the fuck he's doing, race baiting, I think Colby Covington's a bigger race baiter than Tyron Woodley, honestly. That's just my opinion. But with that being said, if he's doing all of that and beats Tyron, you got another thing coming, because he's probably calling somebody else out on the mic after that. Who knows? But at the same time, we have to keep in mind, Colby Covington's got a plan to go to the WWE. I don't know when. I don't know if it's after he falls off his horse. I don't know if he's going to get the welterweight belt and immediately go to the WWE. I don't know how Colby plans on doing it, but he has talked about, I want to be one of the first fighters to have the plan to win a belt and go win a WWE belt. Colby Covington wants that WWE title and that WWE belt. But right now he's in the UFC. So I don't know how the fuck that's going to play out. We have to keep our eyes tuned, and eventually Colby's going to be making an exit from the sport. And maybe it'll be after Tyron Woodley puts his shit to sleep. You know what I'm saying, in their fight. Maybe he'll be like, all right, I'm done here. I ran into Tyron Woodley. My gimmick's up. And take it to the WWE and turn that shit up a notch. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe he continues to be the welterweight. He beats Tyron Woodley, defends his belt, and he does kind of like what a champ does. Colby's going to be like that type of champ. Like, you know how Conor McGregor, he's got 2 belts in the UFC at the same time. Daniel Cormier, 2 belts in the UFC at the same time. That's why they're the champ. Colby's going to have 2 belts at the same time, but it's going to be the UFC and the WWE. He's going to be that type of champ. He's going to... Yo, that would be hilarious. But it is what it is, man. Either way, Colby Covington does not seem to be too concerned about the low UFC 225 pay-per-view numbers. And honestly, who knows if they're even low at this point? What is low pay-per-view numbers when you're not talking about Conor McGregor, John Jones, and Ronda Rousey? So with that being said, man, let the full-time family know what you think in the comments. And before we go, shout out to all the full-time MMA white belts that have hit the subscribe button. Also, make sure you hit the bell right next to it so you get notified every time I upload a new video. And this is the hardest working MMA channel on YouTube. We provide daily updates predictions, betting advice, we do songs, we do fantasy fights. We've interviewed Aljamain Sterling, Sean O'Malley, Bruce Lachmedio, and Felony Charles Bennett, all in just 1 year as an MMA channel. We're one of the fastest growing MMA channels on the net, but we're still small, so make sure you guys go check out the Full-Time MMA Dojo if you want to learn how you can become a full-time MMA black belt. And while you're there, you can see where this MMA channel started from, some of the goals we have for the channel, and even more cool videos just like this one if you enjoyed it. So thanks again to all the full-time MMA white belts that have hit the subscribe button, and also if you're just lurking and this is your first time seeing a video, appreciate that as well. I'm out.
Da 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 da. It's the motherfucking DOG.